One of the phrases that I have been recently hearing a lot is, I know I need to set boundaries, but I don't know what that means or how to do it. So the question is, why do you want to set a boundary? Do you want to set a boundary with someone because you don't like their behavior? You don't like their energy? You don't like how they talk? Or is it because you find yourself being triggered and you fall back into old patterns and old mindsets? It's important to know why you want to set a boundary. You have to know what you're looking for, what you're requesting. So there's not one set answer. But what you can do is identify what the issue is first. And once you've identified with that, you need to understand that you're powerful. You're strong. You have a right to set boundaries. Nobody can take that away from you. So let's say you don't like somebody's attitude or behavior. That's who they are. It's not our job to change that. But it is our responsibility and job to not be around something that makes us uncomfortable. You can just quit being around them, but so many times that's not possible. What you can do is not respond to their behavior or their attitude and recognize they're the one with the issue, not you. What you can also do, and a lot of people I know kind of look at me like, you've got to be kidding me. But I send them blessings. I send them love. I send them prayers. And I also recognize I'm grateful. I have gratitude that that is not my behavior. That is not my attitude. I'm not saying you should judge them. I'm saying if it makes you feel uncomfortable and you don't feel like you're in a position to walk away, recognize it's their issue, it's not yours. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. But let's say you don't like their energy, period. They're not doing anything wrong. They're not saying anything wrong, not behaving incorrectly. But there's something about their energy that's just not right. But you have to stand there, sit there, be amongst them. You know how relatives are. That happens a lot with relatives. And what you do is, I'm sorry, but yes, again, send blessings, send prayers, send them love. And again, become aware that you are not that way. And so you're grateful. And you're grateful to have them helping you recognize that is not you. But there are other tools. And I'll come to that in a moment. So let's say you're in an environment that you feel obligated. And we'll say helping your family. It could be anyone. I hear a lot about helping older parents, helping them clean up, helping them with little chores. And when you do that many times, all of a sudden you feel like you're a kid again. You're being chastised. You're being talked down to. You're being treated in not a grateful way, but a very intimidating, negative way. And all of a sudden, all those difficult, hard things that you experienced as a child or even a young adult starts coming, it zooms back in. All of a sudden you find yourself feeling all those same emotions that you used to. And that's not right. You don't deserve that. But recognizing you're not going to change their behavior, that's not your job. And the biggest problem is you're doing it out of obligation. I don't feel we should ever do anything out of obligation. You may have heard me say this before. It has to do with wanting to. Not because it's your duty. Not because you're obliged to. No one is obliged to be abused, verbally, mentally, emotionally, or physically. No one. Sometimes it's important to learn how to say no. It's also important to sit there and say, wait a minute, I do not deserve to be talked to like that. They may cut you down again, call you ungrateful. You owe them because they brought you in this world and they can take you out. I've heard that expression a lot from people. The bottom line is, this would not be bothering you as much if you have not started to recognize your worth, your value as a human being, as a person. You don't deserve to be treated in such a horrible, negative way. You can speak up. That's very hard, though, when it comes from your young life, to where if you tried to speak up, you were chastised or punished for it. So how do we help with that? What do we do? Well, you can say no. If somebody is asking for help, clean their house, clean their yard, it's okay to sit there and say, no, but I've got a phone number. I've got a couple of phone numbers of people who help with that. Here, let me give them to you. So you're still being the good person that you know you are, but you're also making it their responsibility. Instead of having their belief be that you owe them. If you react and take action when they have that belief, you're agreeing with them. And inside you may not be. And that's when you start recognizing how miserable you feel. No one deserves that. So give them information. It's not your responsibility to follow through with it. It's theirs. No one can take advantage of you without your permission. The problem is, we're afraid to say no. We're afraid to walk away. And again, that could be numerous reasons. Abandonment, fear of loss. Society says you're a horrible person. numerous reasons. But for the person you are today, what fits with you and who you are? You can still be a very caring, loving individual. But that doesn't mean you take somebody else's bad behavior. If it's hard for you to speak up, then take another action. Some say, well, I can't just walk away. Well, that's another story. But for the interim, you can help them become responsible for that, especially when they're capable. With keeping all that in mind, recognize it's not easy, but it's powerful and it's important. When you're dealing with the energy of other people, and in all circumstances when we feel like we need boundaries, it's the energy that comes across that makes a difference also. With energy, I'm a firm believer. I'm responsible for protecting my own energy. No one else is. And sometimes people kind of chuckle at what I suggest. The difference is I know it works. I believe in putting a big old bubble around us, our whole body, and filling it with what I call God light and healing energy. If there's a different name or entity that you use for a higher power or higher source, use that. But for me, I use the term God. But I fill that bubble with God light and healing energy, because I know energetically I need to protect myself. Because when other people are so negative, whether it's conscious or subconscious, they start tapping into your energy field and sucking you dry. You become exhausted. You become weak. You feel like you can't even lift your foot and take another step. It's because they're sucking your energy dry. Probably 9 times out of 10, they're not aware of that. But you feel the results of it. Protect yourself in a bubble. I also believe that it's important to, yes, bless and God light and healing energy, all that, to the other person. But there's other little tools you can use. I'm a firm believer on the mirror. I cannot tell you how many times I suggest this, and again I get funny looks, but I know it works. Put a mirror between you and your mind's eye. This is always your mind's eye. But put a mirror between you and that other person or situation, with the back side of the mirror to you, so that whatever they are putting back reflects upon them. It's their choice as to what to do with it. You're not wishing them ill. You're not trying to be negative toward them. What you're doing is just sitting there saying, I will not accept this. Put that mirror up. You know, it's funny because I know a lot of people live in apartments, patio homes, common walls. And one of the first things I say to people to do, other than smudging and other than spraying and praying and blessing it, is put mirrors on those walls. Again, with the back side of the mirror into your home and the reflective side of the mirror toward their home. That way, if they're having a bad day, you don't have to pick up. they can keep it in their own house. Energy travels through walls, and it travels through space. So when you are also standing in front of someone, use that mirror. It's powerful. And it doesn't make you a bad person. You're just using a tool. Another thing you can do for energy, and to me this is all setting boundaries. They're different type of boundaries, different circumstances of boundaries. I've had folks who had a court date, had to go into court for whatever it's about. They're nervous, understandable, they're full of fear. Same type of thing, put yourself in a bubble of God, light, and healing energy. But to me, the fun part, and again, it works. In my mind's eye, I envision a fire hose. I could give you all the reasons. Yes, it includes firemen are nice to look at. But fire hoses are powerful, right? When they shoot that water out, it's powerful. So in the mind's eye, you hold that fire hose, you turn that nozzle, in whatever building, courtroom, office you are going into, hospital, you turn that fire hose on and just spray that whole place with God, light, and healing energy. Because everybody needs a little bit of extra love and light. You would be amazed the difference that can take place even in a massive building. So many of my folks do that for work. The office can be very negative. Multiple reasons, changes, fear, turnover, people. So my idea and thoughts are always, before you go into your office, just take a moment. It doesn't take long. Pull out your fire hose, an imaginary one, of course, and just turn that nozzle and start spraying with God, light, and healing energy. So many times we don't feel like we have any power or control. Who says this isn't powerful? It is powerful. You are consciously doing something that just maybe could help you and others around you. It's worth a try. You never know until you try it. I believe boundaries, energy, they all go together to help us become more peaceful, more balanced, and to help us recognize we do have value, we do deserve, but it's nobody else's responsibility but our own. And if that means we use these different invisible type of tools, kind of silly little tools, then so be it. Physical action, verbal words do not always work well. I think you can agree with that. So try the other tools. Try the energy bubbles. Try the reversed mirrors. Try the fire hose. Everyone needs a little bit more loving energy, no matter who they are. Why not find a way to give it to them? And why not find a way to protect yours? Some of this might sound a little crazy. Could be. I know it works. I have a lot of folks that new clients that walk in my home. I've had people say, "Aren't you afraid? You've never met him." It's like, no. First of all, if they have ill intentions, they don't even make it to my street, and I know that. But I also know when people come to see me, it's because they're hurting on some level. So I just put around my doorway God light and healing energy. Fill it full of love. So every time someone walks through that door, they begin taking down any barrier, any intense fear that they're carrying within them. It never hurts to try. It works. I would love to see you take a chance and try to apply some of these little tools. It's not always easy, but it is simple. If only you will try. And so it is.